Boobs and bows. Shooting with boobs. Well, ladies, I say ladies because the majority of the ladies I know have boobs. Yep, they're great and all, but they can get in the way at times too. I'm sure we can all agree. While I'm writing this mainly for women, many men would benefit from reading this as well. Since the majority of archers and coaches are men, it would be nice to know what to tell those ladies you're helping when they're shooting downhill or they're struggling with that extra baggage and they can't seem to keep their perfect form. If you're just starting out in archery and you're not sure what form is, I suggest reading my blog/article on form or the many other sources on form in the archery world. For the record, I'm not that generously endowed, but sometimes even I struggle to get that perfect shot with these two lumps in my way, especially when it's a downhill shot. I learned the hard way how to hold my bow when shooting downhill, and I don't want anyone else to have to learn the hard way, or to give up on shooting, so I created this short and simple guide to help others. It was a beautifully sunny day. My husband and I were shooting our awesome 3D course, and I was even impressing myself. Being a fairly new archer, but also being extremely competitive, mainly with myself, I would get very frustrated if I didn't shoot up to my own expectations. My husband, bless his heart, would give me tips here and there, but even he wasn't sure what I was doing wrong when I didn't hit the 10 or 12 ring on a simple 30-yard shot downhill. If you've been shooting long, you know that 30 yards is pretty much a chip shot, very close shot. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to 12 that sucker. Perhaps some of you lucky ladies figured it out easily, and perhaps some of you lucky ladies didn't have to figure it out at all. But my boobs definitely kept me from hitting that 12 ring on a 30-yard shot downhill, and I definitely wasn't having it. As I held my bow at full draw and pulled through my shot, I noticed that instead of the string hitting my arm, which sometimes happens when you're new and learning, I was hitting something else I really didn't want to hit. Luckily, I had a sports bra on that was thick enough it didn't take my nipple off. Funny story for another time about my husband's triple nipples, and no, he doesn't have boobs. It didn't take me very many shots to realize that the reason I was having a hard time, and my husband wasn't, was because I had some baggage up top that he didn't have. Which, you're probably wondering right now how he acquired 3 nipples. Don't worry, I'll tell you later. First off, I highly recommend a sports bra, or even a padded bra when shooting archery. You can always change bras afterwards if you must wear those sexy nothing to them bras, but I wouldn't recommend them for shooting. In fact, you can also find some chest protectors for archery available if you Google it, but I'm happy with just my sports bra. I held my bow up again, stared through the sight, and thought about pulling through the trigger, but stopped. As I stood there holding my bow, I stared through the sight and thought to myself that I really didn't want to join the triple nipple club with the hubby. So I said, screw my form, I'd like to keep both my nipples. You see, form is extremely important when shooting a bow. Anyone who has shot any type of bow in his or her life will tell you so. But I now believe that there is one exception to that rule. I started shaking from holding my bow so long, pushing on the grip and pulling through the release. But instead of getting my form perfect, standing up straight, I bent forward at the waist a little and pulled through the shot. It worked. I still had both nipples and not even a brush up against that God-given sports bra. And to top it off, I finally 12-ringed that stupid target. Yes, ladies, the first answer to your problems, after you know your bow is set up correctly, is that you must bend at the waist for just a moment if you'd like to keep that precious cargo up top from any injury or loss. It is extremely important to remember, though, to keep your T form, which I will talk more about in bow setup and perfecting your form. Now, it may not seem that difficult, but the key is to keep good form while pushing the bow out at a distance from your chest. This makes the shot slightly more difficult, but with a little practice, it becomes second nature. Perhaps you've shot uphill, downhill, around a tree, through trees, on your knees, sitting down, etc. And while these are all difficult shots, holding the bow away from your chest to make a downhill shot can be pretty tricky. In fact, I urge all men to try it sometime, just so they can get an idea of what we have to do to keep from losing those 2 lumps on the front of us they find so intriguing. Not only will it help men understand, but it will also help them understand how to better teach us, which is a must for any coach. Okay, so that, my ladies, friends, is the first step to shooting with boobs. Yes, there is more to it than just bending at the waist. If you are well endowed, which good on you, it can be difficult to shoot even the flat ground shots. In that case, you may have more than just a boobie problem. Keep reading Perfecting Your Form for bow setup and correct body positioning.